Oh, we're live. Yo,
Yo,
how
Jack.
you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome December 7th, 2022. We are live on the 181. Oh, the 180 Way Show. 181. Whoop. There you go. Hey, welcome to the show. Love today's topic. Everybody's doing great. Getting ready for the Army-Navy game. Go Navy, beat Army. Maryland kid. No offense to the Army people out there. We're all on the same. God bless what all of you do to keep us safe and secure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Jack Siney, the host of the show.
Mike Tanker, futurist.
Mike will explain that one day as you've seen his title change. So you'll see he will explain that. Hey, welcome to the show. We are always and continually talking about this topic, managing from home. It is the thing that's happened since COVID that no one's talking about. Great, everyone went to work from home and no one's helping us manage from home. And today's topic is going to be about the flexible work schedule, the new work schedule, the post-COVID work schedule, which, if we're really honest, is a complete mess at companies all over the country, a complete mess that no one really wants to talk about. So today I'm super excited. We're going to have a brutally honest conversation about what should the new schedule be? How's that work? And how do we manage to that? And the pros and cons, and can we have our cake and eat it too? And ... So that's the topic for today. Super excited. And so before we jump into that, I want to always thank our folks at i.help for sponsoring the show. So blessed for them to sponsor the show this year. i.help aggregates, as you see on your screen, all of your online stuff. So everything you have out there, whatever web conferencing solution your company uses, if you have an online scheduling platform, they will integrate all that and offer it up to people that are trying to find you. All of your social media links, website, video, podcast, they'll aggregate one spot. They'll help you share large files. We've all done that. We try to email a large file to somebody, gets jammed up, and they're like, too big, put it on the network, and send them a link, which totally stinks. And so i.help helps with all those things as we now all go kind of work from home and virtual in this new kind of post-COVID environment. i.help is the tool of choice to make sure that you don't have to send 15 emails to everybody to connect them to all your stuff. Go get your i.help account. Amazing. $5 a month. So go get your i.help account. Great. Your URL can be literally i.help/Jack, or you could use jack.com and it'll connect from i.help. Totally suggest you go get your account. Appreciate the i.help folks for sponsoring the show. Mike, i.help, do you have your account set up?
i.help.
Awesome. So, yeah, I want to dive in. I love today's topic. It is such, as you know, as a manager, Mike and I working with sales groups and companies, this is the thing that is the unspoken elephant in the room as we've done the post-COVID world. And so want to dig into this and talk about what's happening, what are some ways to manage to it, and really some parts of it that people are not talking about, which are super frustrating. So Mike sent me this, right? Mike, you sent me this little, right? We go back to the industrial age, time clock, and factory, right, Mike? This is the...
Well, and the other part of that too, Jack, is shift work, right? The whole idea was to keep the factory open 24 hours a day and keep it always pumping out cars or washing machines or whatever it was. And today's point, the factory's still pumping out chips and other things. But because there was 3 shifts, there was 3 8-hour shifts. You had to show up on time, work your shift, leave on time. And that was critical in a fixed workplace with fixed outputs and everything was just ching, 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 ching coming along. We don't, most of the people watching the show right now are not working in that world, nope. Right? Because it's not a factory world anymore for a lot of us. But the factory workplace, there's a lot of norms and conditioning that came from the factory that exist no matter what kind of business we're in. Professional office, like, hey, we got to be here on time. You got to stay here for this long. And Now, it makes sense in a store. It makes sense in a factory, right? You got to be able to tell your clients when you're open. You got to be able to tell your people when you're making stuff. But otherwise, there's a new environment, right? In COVID really shone the spotlight on this new opportunity that I got to get work done, not as important when.
And I think that's what this is, right? This new manage from home is like in the old days, Mike and I always talk about what's management from home now and what did it used to be, right? And in this manage from home world, in the old days, it was the infrastructure of the office that had a lot of these paradigms happen almost subliminally, right? And so we just want to walk through some of those real world things, how it used to be, just say pre-COVID office environment. So there was the old world, industrial world, right? Clock in, clock out, shifts. Then we grew, as the industrial age, and then we went to the tech age and modern offices. And, a lot of folks didn't, especially in the white collar world, didn't clock in and clock out, right? A lot of the retail folks don't, they kind of have shifts. But then it got really flexible, but the infrastructure, even in all those environments, kind of did it. So it was like, hey, so for example, hey, what's the start time? Like, when does your company start work? Right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that was done again with the infrastructure of the office. Like the office, like, oh, everyone, we kind of start here at 9:00. Everyone's at their desk. It happened with the infrastructure of the building, the parking lot, and you saw people run into the office that they were late. So, everyone's already, it's 9:10. I got stuck in traffic. And everyone, almost without saying, although maybe it was in an HR manual, people were like, we're starting at 8, or we're starting at 8:30, or we start at 9, right? That's how in the old world the day started, right? The time to start was set by the infrastructure of the company, right? The building.
One of the benefits that did come out of the factory was that if somebody was chronically late, that wasn't late before, it was an indicator, right? It was like, so-and-so wasn't late ever in 3 years. Now they're late 3 times in the last 2 weeks. It's an indicator, right? Something's going on. Let me check in. Yeah. But we don't really have that anymore. In the virtual world, right? Leading from the cloud, we do not have this. I saw what time you walked in. I saw what time you clocked in. And the benefit is that there's 2 things that people really thrive in this virtual realm: autonomy and flexibility, right? That's the I'm at home part, working. I love it because I have autonomy and flexibility, right? But the missing, it reminds me like, I think it's, the snowball guy with the Warren Buffett, when he said,
snowball guy. That's how you know him. That's how you know him as the snowball guy.
He wrote a book called Snowball. So but he said, if we hire people that are smart, energetic, and have character, right? But if we ever hire anyone that's smart and energetic without character, we're dead, right? Because that's the worst combo. And the same thing, I think there's a combo in the virtual world that we need to pay attention to. Everybody wants autonomy. Everybody wants flexibility. The third killer, if it's not there, is accountability, right? Yeah. Autonomy and flexibility, love to have them. If you have them without accountability, they will crush you. It's just that's the same scenario.
That's what Buffett talked about. It's like, hey, what is so let's connect the dots, right? What is the start time? There was the old school pre-COVID world infrastructure. What time do we start as a company to make it happen? Again, there was this kind of infrastructure pressure or norm that was established. Then, hey, what's lunchtime? Both when do most people go to lunch? And then how long, right? Some companies had this formalized in their employee handbook, God bless. Some didn't, but it was the norm. Hey, between 11 and 1 and kind of go for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or hour, whatever it was. The infrastructure to be of the office and your coworkers drove that. And then, hey, when are we done for the day? Right? When are we wrapping up here? Like when are 90% of the people gone out of our building, out of our infrastructure, out of our time? So again, start time, lunch, stop time. And then I would add to that actually breaks, like when are we taking breaks or smoke breaks or just mental health breaks or every 50, what is it? I think the union world is 15 minutes every 3 hours or something. You know what I mean? Like when do the breaks happen? And what's happening now, again, in the old world, the infrastructure of the building and your coworkers guided that. And maybe it was in your employee manual that I don't think anyone got out and said, oh, if I'm 3 minutes over, the employee manual says not, unless you were in a very regimented Big Brother type environment. Now, post-COVID, work from home, manage from home, it's complete chaos.
Yeah.
It is complete and utter chaos based upon what Mike was just talking about flexibility and the desire to have some autonomy. And it has literally dissolved into chaos for a lot of companies.
You know, what's interesting, Jack, is that we are wired. The reason we want to come to work and be part of a team is the team is progressing. We just, no matter what we say, I don't care. I'm punching in and punching out. In the back of our mind, what we're wired for is to move the ball, to make progress. And so if everybody is autonomous and flexible, but they're not accountable, they're not moving the ball, everybody, the culture of the team goes negative.
Yep.
Right. You know, we talk about in sports, the locker room. Are you a losing team locker room or are you a winning team locker room? Right. You're down by 2 touchdowns with 5 minutes left. Are you going to win this game or you're positive you're going to lose this game? I mean, listen, same game, different teams, right? Different outlooks. And so we have to have that mentality of we're progressing. We're always moving forward. We're moving forward. And if we can't sense that in our team and in our personal work, we're going to lose heart. We're going to lose heart. Culture's going to suffer. And we're going to take that losing mentality instead of that winning mentality. And that's the way you drive culture. Everybody's contributing to progress or they're not, right?
Yeah. And so here's kind of where the rubber hits the road part of the show, right? So I just want to connect some dots. So we talked about all these features, right? Hey, when do I start work? I want to control it. I don't really want to start at 9. I'm a mid-morning person. I like to run and work out. So I'd love to start at 10. And you're like, cool. All right. Well, then, hey, in the old days, I would take lunch between, kind of 12 and 1 and maybe 45 minutes and stop at Starbucks on the way back. But now I don't really love that. I want to work out at lunch. I don't want to do it in the morning. And I'm going to take like a 2-hour lunch and then I'm going to book food. But hey, I'm still going to bust my hump. And then stop time. Well, listen, everybody was kind of done normally at 6, but if I get all my stuff done, can I be done at 4 or maybe 5 and not work to 6? Everybody wants that, right? Everyone's like autonomy and I want to be able to control my own schedule and right? But here's the reality. I just want to say to everybody, here is what's happening. Folks want their cake and they want to eat it too.
Yeah.
And so this is where it comes because here's where it gets dicey. Okay. You totally want to control your own schedule. Most people now in the work from home, I just want to control my schedule. Okay, well, here's ready. Everybody sit down, put on your grown-up adult pants. What happens with this? Now somebody from your company wants to call you at 8:30 p.m. You good? They want to call you at 10 p.m. They want to call you at 7:30 in the morning because they're an early person. Does that work? And so what I mean by that is connecting, you want to have autonomy and flexibility. Most people do, right? I want to control my day. So then I want to control it and blend it. But most people now work from home, and a lot of managers are struggling with this. The whole manage from home are trying to, their employees are saying that. So the manager's like, okay, cool. Well then, me too. I have my own schedule. And so I want to be able to, then now I want to call you at 7:15 at night. And that's some friction starts. Yeah. So people want to control their own schedule, but then they also then want, this thing of, I want to, don't call me too late. I'm setting bounds here. So where is that? And that's where the rubber hits the road with this topic.
What's interesting, Jack, is that we really want to, so there's some things all around this, like in the time clock and everything else, but we want our people to succeed and do great. And they no matter what they think, they need to be part of a team. They need to be part of something bigger than themselves. It's something we're wired for. And what's really interesting is that as we consider the team and timing, there's some critical things that some people get into what they call flow, which is fantastic, right? But you lose self-consciousness when you get into this flow state. As managers, we're like, yeah, my whole team's in flow, man. This is great. We're just cranking out work. Well, because they lose self-consciousness, we've got to give them constraints so that they don't burn out, right? We always say, oh, I wish everybody just work, work, work. Well, one of the downsides of working from home, one of the other things that's happening is people are burning out. They don't have the constraint. I work from 8 to 5, right? Or I work from 9 to 6, or whatever that work day is. If they don't have those constraints, some people just keep working, right? They just work through, they don't eat, they're in flow. They're right where we want them to be as employees, right? But we got to make sure we're helping them navigate the long haul, get into flow, work. We want to facilitate as managers flow state for our people, because a lot of the interesting things when you do the research on the flow state, you actually see that a lot of those things are aligned with what our strategy is from work managed from home, which is give them autonomy, facilitate that, but at the same time navigate with accountability. And accountability comes from crystal clear outputs, right?
Yes.
Objectives. What do I need from you today to bring value to the company, right? We hired you, right? We hired you for Wednesday, the 7th of December. We need something from you today, right? Are you going to deliver that? Great day. If you don't deliver that, you're going to know it was a bad day. I'm going to know it's a bad day, and everybody's going to know it's a bad day because we didn't move the ball forward and accountable, right? You felt autonomous, you felt flexible, but you didn't deliver, right?
Well, I think people too need, like, the thing that happened with the timing is, I think not all, 90% of the conversations I had with companies, their metrics are down. Their internal metrics are down because we're from home, people, And what kind of happened from a work standpoint, people don't fully understand that, we had these metrics, here they were X. It's now 70% of X. I want to stay work from home. Well, that's not going to happen. So if you think about it, now a lot of folks don't have a commute. They have total control of their schedule. They don't commute back home. They have a lot of, as you mentioned, autonomy at their house. Rationally, if you're doing analysis, the metrics should actually go up. Like, you're not in the car for 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes at night. That's an extra 90 minutes in your day. Maybe lunch, because we're in the office, you had to drive to a place and When now it's in your house, it's 10 yards away. Maybe you're eating in the refrigerator or whatever. Like, there should be, quote unquote, more time. And it's the metrics piece, as you mentioned. The metrics for most companies are down because the manage from home piece, people have not figured out to say, how do I check in and say, did you start your day yet? And how do I do that in a respectful, loving way and not make people feel like crap? Hey, it seems like, you've been offline since 11 o'clock. It's now 2:30. Like, is everything okay? And people get kind of freaked out. It's about the metrics, but it's also trying to check in a loving way, if not daily, certainly weekly, going, hey, your number used to be here and now we're here. What is that? And having that conversation in a direct, honest way without feeling like it's Big Brother watching, right?
What's interesting is that you might have a team in the new world, right? We might have a team of 7 people in 7 different time zones. And so to have a start time at X really won't do much for the team. But one of the things that you can do to make that work really well is that you establish these standards, just like you said, Jack. You establish these standards with the team. Like, hey, as a team, let's talk about it. When are we all available? I'm willing to let you guys be autonomous and flexible. I need a window to manage. I have to have a window to manage. It's what I do. It's why I'm here. You can't shut me out. I'm not going away. So you either want me jumping in at 8:30 at night whenever I feel compelled to talk to you, or we can sit down, like you said, Jack, as professionals and establish ground rules, right? What's the framework look like? Not for the whole company. It's too many moving parts to try to do this for the company, but the company should mandate that each team standardizes its working environment, and time is a critical component of that. You need to standardize that. Maybe the company can give some guidelines, but the team, because if we're all in the same time zone, that's a whole different enchilada, right? Than somebody that has multiple time zones, even day and night, working in different eras. So You got to work within your team to create those standards.
But I want to hit on something you said that some people hear and not agree with. Hey, you need a manager. That's what I'm doing. I need to manage. I would just say, because there are technically, perhaps the younger you are in your career, and do I really need somebody? Isn't that Big Brother watching? Don't you trust me? Can I manage myself? And I just want to say, a forest for the trees. There's no one. Not no one. 99% of people are not great on their own. That's just in any athlete, join the gym, any team, any organization. It takes the people to see the forest for the trees. Your manager, your team should help you be great so they can see inside of you the things you can't see. They can share with you benchmarks of other people and share the information. They can help you be great. Sometimes management is looked at, Big Brother trying to put me down. The man's holding me down, right? It's not meant to be that. It's meant to, in the old days, it was more natural in the office. Oh, yep. I need some questions. Now it's work from home. People are like sitting at home and they're not sure, and maybe they ask their spouse or their loved one or person or whoever happens to be closest to them. And we're lacking some of the normal interaction that would happen in an office, both with coworkers and with a manager, to be great. The goal is not, the manager is not to try to hold you down, try to force you to do something. It's to make you great, to self-actualize. And so that's just a real world part of it. It's not perceived today. A lot of it's perceived watching companies and talking to managers. Oh, you don't trust me. You're peeking into my stuff. Why you monitor my computer? All that's not landing very well because it's not being communicated very well, right?
And I think that if somebody is at 110% of their outputs, right, whatever they are, whether they're designing, computing, right, or selling or administering, whatever they're doing in their role, if they're at 110%, I should never bring up what they're doing on their screen, right? That's a management 101, but a manage from home, apparently it's advanced training, but it's a 101. Like, you encourage your great people that are doing great work, but everybody hits a snag. Yep. Everybody gets stalled in whatever project they're on, because everybody, if they're growing in their career, is going to get a new project that was the hardest one yet, right? And so they're either going to get stuck, or they might even start moving backwards. And the manager is the first person they have in their world to help them get unstuck, right? Yeah. To help them. Let's figure out how to get unstuck, because the manager has a purview of everybody on the team and a purview of everybody in the company that's different than your purview as an individual contributor on a team. And so that's one. The other thing I was thinking of is that the GOAT of anything, whatever it is, the greatest of all time of anything, if they live right now, they have more coaches than they have family, right? They have a coach for this part of their game, this part of what they do, this part. They have a coach for their life. They have a coach for their finances. They have a coach for how they eat. They have a coach for how they play their game. Yep. So if you think if you want to be great at what you're doing, the great ones are already modeling that you need an outside set of eyes and ears and ideas to help you get to great and then stay great.
Yeah, 100%, your nutrition, all your stuff. And so it comes down to communicating it in a loving way, because most manage from home. They're uncomfortable. It's not normal. It's different. So as metrics start to go down, a lot of the folks that are managed from home communicate in what could be a kind of a condescending, choppy way. Not great. People get kind of freaked out. They're like, hey, I noticed your thing was lower the last month or the last couple of weeks, or is something going on, or we tried to reach you and you're out of pocket. Really, really choppy. And so communicating what the expectations are openly and honestly, knowing that, as Mike said, it's the end goal that matters. We all know that, right? Unless you're a hyper anal retentive, crazy manager, it's just the output. So let's just forget that part. 20% of it's great. Forget 20% of your people are great. Now 80% of your people are maybe not where they should be. So with those people, what are you doing? What's the expectation? How are you communicating start time, lunch time, end time? What's after work really? Is it before work? What is the norm? Over communicating the expectations, maybe as a team, maybe you have to communicate it, because the assumptions are not right. And then this, I love, then it's like, just enforcing whatever that is. Like not in, again, not in a crappy negative way, but everything, there's rules to everything. Investments, sports, working out, health. Like you could be like, I'm going to be a health nut and I'm just going to eat ice cream all day. Well, hey, that's going to be a big failure. There's rules to all of it. And just communicating that and then enforcing it out of love. Just like when you go to the gym, hey, one more set, 5 more push-ups. It's to be your best. It's not to be crappy. And the last thing I'll just add, what's happening, it's a lack of trust, right? You trust your trainer, so you do the extra set. You trust your trainer, they have your best interest, you do the extra push-ups, right? Or whatever it is. You trust loved ones in your life when they give you advice. And what's happening a lot of times in the new manage from home world, folks don't have full trust in their manager, and it creates a lot of ill will and tension in the process.
And one thing we all need to remember, Jack, is that it's not always a people problem. The reason the ball's not moving could be a process problem. And if you're an individual contributor, you can't solve a process problem. You need your manager to go to, like, you need, hey boss, you need to go get busy and you need to go out there and you need to get this process is broken. It needs to be fixed. And so,
and it would be found out in the office, by the way. It would be found out because 10 people would be talking about it all in the office, and you'd hear them over there. Hey, what's going on? Their email's not working. Well, now everybody's working from home. The email doesn't work. You may only hear about Slack, and there's 1 Slack and 2 Slacks, and it may go on for half a day before it comes to light, right?
And the other thing, you know, Edward Deming is the total quality management guy, right? He's the super smart, how to make things efficient. He has this quote: "A bad process beats a good person every time."
Yeah.
And so as a manager, listen, managers are helping the people get more done. That's it. We're not trying to drive you crazy. We're trying to make you be part of a better winning team. And that's all we want to do, right? So if the team's losing, blame the coach. If the team's winning, give a little credit to the coach, right? The coach is doing something right. And so it's, are the instructions clear for what we need to do? Do you have the resources you need to be successful? These are things that we work together as a team that includes a manager and teammates to make all of this happen, because we can't get it all done in a bubble, and we definitely can't get it all done alone. And that's not what we're wired for. We are literally wired. Some people think, oh, I just want to work alone in a cave, I'll be great. But it's more invigorating for people when they're part of something that's bigger than them. And the last thing I learned today about flow state, Jack, as I was preparing and getting ready, is that there's a new word that I'd never recognized. I'd never heard this word before.
I want to know what you're looking at as you lean up.
I got my notes up here. I'm looking at my notes, and it says autotelic. Autotelic is one of the critical things. It says transformation of time and autotelic experience. Well, autotelic means you're part of something bigger than you. That for you to get in flow state, you need to be challenged. You need to have a goal that's challenging. You need to have a good workspace and things give you time to focus. But you need to have clear instructions, and you need to be part of something that's bigger than you, right? Yeah. Going to Mars, going to the moon, doing 3 times what we ever did before. All of that's possible, but we need to all do it together, and nobody's going to do that alone.
Yeah, but I think in this world of kind of like, hey, how do we set kind of this flexible work schedule? How do we set the right set of norms? It's not black and white across all companies. Just like if you've been in the world of sales, like channel conflict, there's a million channel conflict rules because every company has a different model and comp plan and org structure. The same thing here. This flexible work schedule about like all of these things, like, hey, when are we going to say you should have started by, right? And for some companies, maybe that's a hard time and we're going to go old school and everyone's on the phone or everyone's selling, or we're going to start programming at 9 a.m. Or maybe it's super flexible. Hey, we don't care. You have total control of your schedule. Do whatever you want, right? And then, hey, same thing. When are you out of pocket during the middle of the day, if it ever? And like, hey, we're going to give people time to check in, like Mike said, protect them from themselves, check out, go have lunch, refresh yourself. When are we going to say it's the end of the day, right? When is our stop time? And then is there, right? Is there, or is it totally blended? Like what is after hours? Because again, the conversation that very few people really want to have, it's about like, where's the balance in it? Like we have a tendency to look at the world from our view and be like, I want total control and I want total autonomy. And I love that. And then you're like, okay, but now I want to call you at 8:30 with a topic. You're offended. And so it's like everybody to succeed in life. Mike talked about, what is that? The thin slicing. Everyone needs boundaries of some sort, both work-wise, schedule-wise, eating, health, life, finances. So in the work world, what are the boundaries? And what we're missing, I think, in work from home, and then definitely in manage from home, is having the fortitude and the directness to do it, specifically state it. And by the way, you can iterate on it. If you say, hey, this is it, people hate it. Okay, well then let's move this, let's move that. Just like you got to your old school metrics and paradigms, evolve for most companies over time, it will too for manage from home. It will evolve, but just want to encourage folks, you have to take a stand. You have to put a flag in the sand and say, hey, here is our paradigm. Here's how our schedule works. Here's what we think overly structured or very flexible, or it kind of blends, or it's very separate. There's pros and cons to all of them, but we have to put some flags in the sand, or you're going to have chaos and your metrics are going to be down and you're going to struggle and your job's at risk and the company might be at risk. True.
You know, it's interesting, Jack, what you were saying. I was just thinking, like, if somebody came to me at the end of the workday and said, Mike, here's what I'm doing tomorrow. Here's how here's what time I'm going to start on this project. Here's what I'm going to get done by the end of the day. And I'm going to work until it's done. And here's what I'm going to get done. And I go, wow, that's a great plan. If you did all that in one day, that'd be a good day for the company and the team. And then the next day, what do? I check to see, hey, you said you're going to get that done tomorrow. Did you get it done? And then if you got it done, guess what you've got today? Expectation for another plan. But tomorrow you gave me a plan and you proved you deliver on your plans. You get autonomy and flexibility all day long. Do you deliver on your
What did you say?
Managers should be agreeing on your expectations. They should be coming together on that, co-creating those. But once you do you deliver on your expectations?
What did you say the other day? I wrote it down. Mike and I had a conversation offline. He said, one of us is going to manage you. You get to choose based upon your outputs. And I love that's a great quote. I wrote it down. One of us is going to manage you. Either you're going to manage you or
Right.
Someone from the company organization is going to manage you. And it's going to be based upon your outputs and how much trust and how much synergy and conversation is in the process. That's the real thing. And for me, this show and people that listen to it and watch it and what we're doing with Manage from Home, this is about having the conversation because there is no right answer. But what we're doing, a lot of people are punting on this topic and be like, well, where's Sally? I don't know. I don't really want to ask her. I think she took a 2-hour lunch. Like, it's okay. Like, if that's your corporate culture, good. Just like in the old days, some companies allowed you to bring dogs to the office. Some said kids are fine. Some said no. You know what I mean? It's okay, but you've got to manage and have a norm for the workday so that we're not offending people and overstepping boundaries and putting healthy paradigms, healthy structures in place for people to allow them to be great. Because left unsaid, this is one of the most true things about management. Everyone knows it's everyone does it that way. Like we all know, and you're like, that's the worst. Everybody has a different perspective of what the norm is. Oh yeah, that's obvious. And you're like, oh no. If you've ever managed a tech team and a sales team, you know it's not obvious. Two different personality types, two different worlds, right?
It's another form of the telephone game, Jack. When you take a room of 60 people and you start the message in front of the room, well, it's a little different when a team of 7, but over time, the message goes around all 7 on Monday, and then it's a little different on Tuesday, then it's a little different on Wednesday. And if nobody's correcting it, it's a lot different 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
In 2 weeks, your team could be working on what they think is their new methodology and how they're going to be great. Nobody checked. Right?
No, that is it. That's the problem.
Correction is a critical part of managing from home.
Right. That's what happened. We got here 18 months to 24 months now into COVID. We've let this go too long. We've not trained on it. We've not talked about manage from home. We just thought what worked in the office will now work in this remote environment. It's not working. Right. And that is it. It's the telephone game. We thought it, and now it's very different. And now companies are really at this crux. The reason this topic is so hot, this manage from home, not every company, a lot of companies are like, we're going back to the office, we stay in remote. We're going back to the office, we're going remote. We're going to do hybrid. Well, if you do hybrid, you have the same set of problems. Remote, home. What am I doing? And so you have to bite into this topic of what the norms are in your work schedule. Have to, because if not, you're going to irritate and make people mad, and they're going to leave. And in their exit interview, they're going to go, "Yep, my manager called me every night at 7:00." And the manager will be like, "I know, but you didn't start till 11, and I let you take a workout lunch break. What?" And so, got to set norms and protect people from themselves, and set the norms so that people are happy and successful, and everyone knows what to expect. That is what creates happiness and prevents people from leaving a company.
And what's great, Jack, is that the reason you and I are both so excited about this topic, and I think it's a movement. I want to create a manage from home movement so that work from home keeps going, because I think it's good for family balance and everything. Less carbon footprint for the world with with removing these commutes, and that's always been important to me. And so but the analytics.
I'm laughing.
The analytics on all of this say one thing: don't punt.
Yeah.
The analytics say you can make this work from home. You can, but you've got to figure out how to manage from home to make it work from home.
Have to. Do not run through all our framework for manage from home is over communicating and setting the right norms that can be changed over time. Please don't get locked into, this is in cement. It's changing over time, but make sure your metrics should be at least the same. Let me bring this back up. Force the rule. The metrics should be at least the same, if not more, not less, right? A lot of companies have settled for less, and that's what's killing them. So cool. Any last words, Mike?
Plan, do, check, improve. Plan, do, check, improve. Plan, do, check, improve. Iterate. All of this is moving, but progressing, not falling backwards. Just
Amen.
We're all progressing. We're going to iterate in that direction.
100%. Again, want to thank the folks at i.help for sponsoring the show. Go out and get your i.help account, $5 a month. Aggregate all of your online stuff. Amazing platform. Go get your i.help account. Appreciate your time. Listen, we are going to continue to talk about this manage from home, literally dynamic and movement that no one is talking about. How to be great managing from home. Everyone's talking about work from home and the quiet quitting and the great, the great resignation and all these things. And no one's helping the managers at home. It's the biggest topic being missed in companies. Mm-hmm. And Mike said it. I'll just one other thing to wrap up. It's like in the old days, we'd be like, can we get rid of meetings? Can we stop doing stuff? Can we not micromanage people? And now we've gone manage from home, and all those things are coming back. Check in your people. Are they doing it? Micromanage them. Let's have more meetings. And we're reverting to things we know do not work. And so that's really our goal with this show, and what we're doing is to kind of help folks be great at this new manage from home paradigm that we got thrown into, most of us suddenly. And full disclosure, not a fan of that many years ago, and just have seen all the benefits that can come from it. Amen? Mm-hmm. Great? Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, we will see you next Wednesday at the show. So have a great week. Enjoy the holiday season. Go Navy, beat Army. What? What do I got? Killing in the name of